Welcome back to RGR Football. I don't know what I'm doing. It's the day after Thanksgiving, and I'm a little bit, tired and wore out. How are you, Dan?
I'm apparently a little bit better than you are.
Right. Folks, check out Locked On Chiefs. We have our predictions over there. Dan and I are going to go over our predictions here on RGR. And I just want to say first, before we even get started, I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. I did. It was mellow. It was simple. And honestly, I needed that this year. So for all of you members, I know it's difficult getting the members-only content to get notifications. If you don't have, notifications for the channel, but all notifications turn on, you're not going to get them. So for members, two things. There's a new playlist on the homepage that has all the member videos in it. Two, all the community tabs are where you're going to get those announcements. It's where you're going to get announcements for the new gear and merchandise that we just put out yesterday. I've got a great code for you. It's Black Friday 20, BF20. You go to the RGR store and you can get a nice chunk of change, 15% off here. And there's still plenty of time for Christmas. You got a couple of weeks. This is a print-on-demand service, so it does take a little bit. But you should start seeing it here on the channel here pretty soon. That said, with all that out of the way, we focus on Tampa Bay, and I almost put TB in the title, but I know the discussion would be, do you mean Tom Brady or do you mean Tampa Bay? Yeah. So honestly, from my perspective, the defenses are the defenses. It all comes down to the two quarterbacks and how well they do against their prospective opponents. Yeah. There are a lot of things that go into it, but if you boil it all down to it, can the Chiefs' struggling defense stop Tom Brady, who's been struggling more, than the Tampa Bay defense that's been playing well stop Patrick Mahomes, the offense that's been playing well? What do you think?
I mean, I think if we look at the defense, the Raiders have been the problem for the Chiefs defense. And that's unheard of over the last, 10, 15 years.
Right.
It's just been incredible to see that they've taken everything that they've done and been able to put up points against the Chiefs. And you're going to see tomorrow my little defensive breakdown of the debacle that was the Kansas City Chiefs defense against the Raiders. But again, I think that we need to focus on honing in some of this pressure on Tom Brady. This is the only thing for me to how you win this game. If you cannot get pressure on Tom Brady, the Chiefs will lose this game, because not only do they have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, who are fully practicing and they're healthy, Antonio Brown is an issue. He's still good. He's still quick in and out of his cuts. Tom Brady absolutely loves to throw him the football. And the only kind of guy that they have that can cover Antonio Brown is probably the Jerry Sneed in terms of quickness and speed to keep up with him. So they're going to have to do a lot to get to Tom Brady, to force him to not get the ball down the field deep and to start hitting him. And that's how you're going to throw. He's going to throw interceptions. He's going to start chucking the ball upfield across his body on fourth down like he did against the Saints and just throwing ducks all over the place. But that's the only way that I see the Chiefs winning this game personally.
I'm glad you put it that way, and I'm glad for a couple of other things. Folks, on the list of thankfulness, Dan's way up there because I started to do a defensive review, and I shut it off because I didn't want to look at it anymore. So I appreciate it.
Rough.
Particularly rough. The red zone touchdowns drove me insane.
Yeah, I decided to cut those from.
And I appreciate that. Good God.
I watched. I'm just like, I can't put this up there. I kind of have to focus on the execution part, because if you take that out and some of the middle stuff that happened in the game, they don't get to the red zone. So let's kind of focus on that a little bit.
Right. Cause and effect. But
man.
You put it the exact way that I see it too, is it all comes down to pressure. This season, Tom Brady, 114 quarterback rating when not pressured. It drops to 55 QB rating when he's pressured. It is ridiculous. And your point on Sneed is very well taken, too, because Sneed has played nickel in college. We saw him play some nickel last week. He did the safety thing in college, and obviously he's been on the outside quite a bit when he played earlier in the season. He was just coming back. As long as, his teammates aren't ready to, beat him. I don't know what that argument was about. Still don't know. It doesn't matter at the end of the day.
I wish we could find out.
But here's the thing. While I completely agree with you, I don't think Rashad Fenton has the shiftiness to stay with Antonio Brown, and I think they are going to run him out of the slot quite a bit. I like Fenton, and that's nothing against him. Yeah. It's just that's a physical matchup that he doesn't really come out on the top end of. But here's the thing. despite the physical capabilities of LJ Steed, we're still talking about a rookie with 3.5 games under his belt going against a veteran that's been, I mean, it's ridiculous. So I think they have to take a page out of the Belichick book and double him, take him away, make sure that you take what is Tom's, like you said, he wants to throw to him. Yeah. He will throw it up to him because he has that confidence in him that he probably shouldn't have, but he does.
It's insane.
And so if you take that away, I think you could take your chances on Breland, on Evans, Ward or Fenton, on Goodwin. Yes, there's speed there, but you're going to give up some plays. The bigger question to me is, do you do that, or do you just say, LJ, try and hang with them if you can, and do you let AB be the guy that they try to go to the most?
That's very possible. From what I've seen, he has not been the run after catch threat that he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers and that one game he played with the New England Patriots. But he's still got that I'm going to get you a first down kind of feel to him. He can get open when he needs to. And like I said, I haven't seen the run after catch aspect for him, which I expect to come along. It's been almost a full calendar year since he played, I think, if I remember correctly. So that just takes some time to get used to. They have immediate chemistry. Like, they're on the same page almost all the time, him and Antonio Brown. And that's kind of something that brings, why he wanted him in Tampa Bay. It was one of the only things outside of Gronk that he's comfortable with. He doesn't look very comfortable in this offense, and you can tell by the way that Bruce Arians wants him to air the football out down the field, and it just doesn't have quite the feel to it. He's taken away some of the interceptions that Jameis Winston's thrown, but he hasn't brought the type of vertical passing game, and that's kind of where this offense is at a disconnect, right, for me. So that's what I've seen, and I don't know if the only guy that really scares me on this offense, if they can contain Antonio Brown, is Chris Godwin. He is exceptional. He's got it all. He's got the catch. He's got the run after the catch. He's got the quickness. He's got the speed. He's got the only guy that really gives me pause for this offense.
Yeah. I mean, my preference would be to not play Ward because Breland and Fenton can travel. We've seen that. When they lock everything down is when Ward's on the field. And quite frankly, I'm comfortable with Bashaud Breeland going up against Mike Evans. Between the leaping ability, the arm length, I think he can deny passes. And I'm also comfortable. He doesn't have the speed there, Fenton, but he's feisty, and I think he can take Goodwin and prevent some of his route development off the go. So I'd like to see those guys stick. And if you have to change it up, that's fine, whatever, adapt. But at the end of the day, what we saw deep from Tom Brady doesn't work or hasn't worked. No. So if you can get somebody, and the big thing about AB is his route running, you're right. He doesn't have that yak or that overall speed like before, but he can get loose. And I think LJ gives you the ability to catch up and make that tackle. You're going to give up passes, fine. For me, the X factor is this old Gronk that shows up every fourth game or something, or is this new skinny Gronk, like the Benjamin Button Gronk? I don't know.
I mean, this is a game that he's going to show up for a handful of plays. I'm willing to bet he shows up for a handful of plays. I just pray that it's not what we saw at the end in New England, because he was a bad tight end. But again, he comes up in the AFC Championship game and he's just old Gronk again. He was getting catches down the field, and he's made a couple of those plays, and I'm willing to bet he's going to make a couple of those against these linebackers, unless they just stick Willie on him. Be physical.
Let's do that. Let's hope that your big brother doesn't get loose. So it's okay. But at the end of the day, I think the one wrinkle that we have to watch for is I think they've been able to run sporadically with Fournette and with Rojo, and Lord knows the Chiefs defense is not focused on stopping the run. So there's clearly yards to be made there. I don't think BA wants to do that though. So at the end of the day, it's a struggle, and we've heard about the struggle between Tom Brady and Bruce Arians. And if Bruce wins, you're going to see what you've seen. If Tom wins, you're going to see them run the ball more. You're going to see Shady in the backfield on third down catching passes. And that's when Tom Brady can actually be who Tom Brady is and not have to force himself. No. If they do that, I think that helps them. I think it makes it a closer game. Because when we look at the flip side, I feel like despite that defense being very good, especially in the front seven that I think is probably where they're overmatched, they have young guys at all the corner spots. They do have speed to keep up. But I feel like nothing against Antoine, but you're a rookie.
Yeah.
Playing deep a lot, and you got to face Hill, Hardman, now Watkins, and Kelsey. there's just too much opportunity there for me. If they can protect, I feel like Patrick has a great day ahead of him.
Yeah, it's going to be the thing. You've got both Austin Ryder and Mike Remmers on the injury report. Granted, they both practiced fully, but Shaq Barrett and Jason Pierre-Paul have combined for 12.5 sacks on the year. That's going to be something they focal point for their front four. It's kind of like the reverse of what the Chiefs want to do. They want to get pressure on Mahomes, except Mahomes has the play after effect. He's able to get out of the pocket and create. And that's the one thing that I think Shaq Barrett will bring. He's got the ability to get the pressure and then chase down. That's not something that Jason Pierre-Paul can do at this point. He's not fast enough to do that. So I think they're going to have to contain and maybe not so much focus on getting sacks and forcing him out of the pocket, because let's face it. Look what he did last week, what he does on a consistent basis. Patrick Mahomes gets out of the pocket. He makes plays down the field. And if you've got guys like Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, seeing him get out of the pocket before your defense does, it's going to be a big play. That's kind of what we've seen over and over again. And the chemistry that Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce have out of the pocket is insane. So I feel like they're going to have to contain, be more of like what the Raiders and the Patriots did against them earlier in the season. The first matchup with the Raiders, not so much the second one, just kind of maybe rush 3, rush 4, just kind of play coverage and see what you can get. At the end of the day, they don't have the speed to keep up with these guys.
Yeah. I think we're going to see a lot of deep zones. We saw a lot of cover 6 last week from the Raiders. I think that worked for them. I think they're going to try to emulate that. And so it comes down to the Chiefs pass catchers being able to settle down, find the gaps in there. And when Patrick does break the pocket, that's when zones break down, is when the quarterback's outside of the tackle box. I think that gives them an advantage too. But I also want to see them pepper the run a little bit more. I'm not talking like the Buffalo game plan, but do it a little bit more, because their linebackers are great. I can't take anything from them. No. I was a huge Devin White fan coming out, but he has not played in coverage this season like the expectation that I have for him. I think he's susceptible not only against Travis Kelce, but against the running backs as well. So I want to see them pound it inside a little bit and draw those LBs in and then hit them in that 12-yard range behind it. I think that's going to work for them quite well.
You know, the beautiful thing about play action, it works whether or not you're running the football. And that's the thing. You can make those linebackers and the second-year player and Devin White come up and then hit those intermediate zones with Travis Kelce, with the running backs, with anybody you put in the slot. So I think that they need, like you said, they need to use a little bit more play action. They don't necessarily have to run the football in the tackles. I would like to see them get to the edges, depending on if you've got Shaq Barrett or Jason Pierre-Paul out there, because that will then, force some of the linebackers to make some angle adjustments. And we know that Devin White's a second-year player. He's not been great in coverage to this point. He's still very fast. He's going to try to chase downhill.
Yep.
But I'm blanking on the other linebacker's name right now.
Levante David.
Yeah, he's going to make plays in this game.
Yes, he is.
He's excellent. Levante David is one of the most underrated players in the entire NFL.
Swing passes. They won't work.
No, they will not. Don't try to get it to Le'Veon Bell or Clyde just kind of swinging out there. That's how you get them hit. He's going to come downhill and hit people. So as much as I don't like to fear players, maybe stay away from him a little bit in terms of coverage or running at him. He's a playmaker, and he's going to look for forcing fumbles and get interceptions. That's what he's going to want to do.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm looking forward to it. So at the end of the day, how do you feel about this? What's your prediction for this particular game?
This is, for me, it comes down to if they can protect Tom Brady, and they really haven't been able to do that consistently enough. They just lost the center that they put in there, maybe for his entire career. It's devastating that he jammed his neck and he might not be able to ever play again. And Ali Marpet, the guy who was the center, he was injured, and he had concussion issues. They might have to put him back there. He's been bad at center that they don't have, or is it Ryan Jensen? They've had some issues with moving guys around on that offensive line. It has not been very good in the interior. So Chris Jones, Tershawn Wharton, this has got to be a game that you bring your A game and get to Tom Brady. I have a feeling that with the history that Tom Brady and Chris Jones have, that he's going to bring a little bit extra to this game. And I know that people were kind of, he's not giving all the effort in these plays, but I'm willing to bet he's going to get to Tom Brady a few times, and they're going to have some choice words. So that said, if they can just get the pressure, force him to move a little bit, this game should have a couple turnovers, and the Chiefs will have to execute. They're not going to take the deep shots again because defenses will prevent you from doing that. That's just what we've learned to this point. So I think it's going to be a little lower scoring than people think it is. I'm looking more along the lines of 28-24-ish Chiefs win. That's kind of where I'm going with.
Okay. I like where you're talking about in terms of Chris and his motivation. You also have to remember that it is Ryan Jensen that had a game last week. Good for him against Aaron Donald.
Mm-hmm.
But he has been subpar for the year. One good game does not do enough. And quite frankly, the length of Chris Jones, I think, plays into his ability to feed Jensen better because of Jensen's feet and not moving them as well, especially if they move him to center. I think that's a done deal. But you have an overload there. And it's to the point now where I actually feel like they can move Chris out of there because I think you can put him out at end. And let Tano rush inside. Again, with the length, I think that defeats Jensen pretty well because the best pass blocker they have right now is the rookie Wirfs out at right tackle.
He's been so good.
He has, and there's no answer for him on this defense. Nothing against Alex Okafor or Tano or Dana. They're all working, but they're just not premium pass rushers yet. Maybe the young guys can get there. We'll see that in the future. But I'd like to see Chris Jones out there at left end and see him attack him both inside and outside.
That'd be fun. I mean, you got to take some of the experienced guys and get them on the rookie just because you got to see what they can do. And you got guys like Frank Clark and Chris Jones that have some of that ability that is a little bit better than what you're going to get from guys like Okafor and Tano and the rookies. So if they do that, I just don't see them doing it that much. I think maybe they'll try more stunts that way. I don't know if they're going to put Jones at end just because they have a want to not do that. What we've seen so far.
I can hope.
Yeah, like I said, I would love it.
At the end of the day, I'm pretty similar to you, and I'll stick with my my previous thought from Locked On Chiefs, and that is I have it 31-24. I do have the Chiefs winning, but I think it's going to be a fourth quarter where you actually build that lead. I think it's going to be tight through at least 3 periods. We'll see what comes down to it, folks. If you're not already, click the like, the sub, and the bell notification. All you members, check the community tab and look for your special playlist on the homepage of the channel. But that said, I'd like to know what you guys think. I think we both would be interested to see just where everybody lands. So leave your comments down below with your prediction for this game. We appreciate you spreading the word. Hope you had a great holiday. Check out the RGR store for some of the new designs. We'll talk more about that here coming up next week. So thank you guys for your time. Enjoy this football game. We'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.